The North Node is retrograding, as it normally does, and it's gone back into the 15th degree of Taurus. And this is moving into a different expression, and the expression is called application. So we look at the 15th degree of Taurus, and we find a man muffled up with a rakish silk hat, coping with adversity. Anyone who has cultivated a mature ability to integrate with society and who can carry responsibilities and maintain a healthy approach to play and relaxation needs then to face up willingly to a few difficulties, cope well with crises and not fall down. This is the stuff of a truly trustworthy person who has depth and substance, pushing against obstacles towards self-improvement. Coping forces us to develop in character. In dramatizing the true inner self, we do not identify with appearances. And maybe that last point, when you care over much about your appearances, not only how you look, but how you act in public, when you over-identify with that, you lose access to an authentic depth of self. So we're warned here not to do that. Very few people face up to life full on and take responsibility for all that they have to deal with. Very few. Most people diminish their investment in responsibility as soon as possible. Now, those of us who are a bit different from that, perhaps us, we take responsibility, we do the right thing, we're adult about our lives, and this necessarily means coping with adversity of some kind. If you take on the challenges, you meet it head on and you deal with what needs to be dealt with, this develops an attitude of being within us which is stronger than average, stronger than most people. And we tend towards positions of responsibility as a result of that. And this develops greater ability to cope with responsible decisions and actions and so on. And so we become more mature. This is the whole process of growing up, really. And some people don't want to do that beyond a certain level. They find themselves in adulthood, they have their family and their job, and they do their best with that, and that's it. Others want to go further. They want to actually do all they can do to address the issues in society: injustice, silliness, abuse of resources, lack of civility. There's all manner of reasons why you could stand up for a cause, even if it's in a small way in your local environment. You take responsibility for making things better. And by things, like everything, not just your things, but the way things are in the world. And because we're talking about the North Node, it's likely that we're discussing here an aspect of a philosophical, or more likely spiritual dimension of life. Getting it right, working out that which we believe in, that which we choose to do because it's the right thing. And values tends to be an issue for Taurus. Taurus really does like to know where it is, what's right, what's wrong, what you do, what you don't do. And to establish those sets of values gives Taurus a stability and a security of being. It knows what it should be doing. It may not always do it, but Taurus likes to know where the boundaries lie, as that's within its fundamental nature. So here we have the North Node looking at this question. Specifically, the 15th degree of Taurus is very much to do with wrapping up against the cold. In other words, dealing with difficult environmental issues and going out there nonetheless and taking them on. Not hiding away from them in the cold, in the warm of your home, but going out, dressing up to cope with adversity. And The ability to do that, if we want to understand that, we go to the opposite principle of the South Node in Scorpio 15. Now, the energy of Scorpio 15 is children playing around 5 mounds of sand. So South Node, this is something that we already know how to do. The first steps of humanity's spiritual breakthrough. And we're talking about the mind being able to penetrate further into the unseen realms to discover and create new forms for universal ideas. Number 5 is featured, and numerologically this is associated with the capability of mind to penetrate further. And few people are truly creative. Those who are invariably are still playing around with this extraordinary gift. So the wisdom of play is underlined, and it is assumed that if we're to take responsibility in our lives, we've already mastered the advantages, the skills, the expansiveness of play. Play is a great way to learn. We learn probably more through play than we do through work, because it engages a part of the mind which is looking for solutions, the creative part. When we're playing, we're having fun, thinking about what we could do, what we don't have to do, and so on. There's no determined outcome when we're playing. And so the creative aspect of mind is not quite constrained. So here's a clue, how we take our responsibilities of life. And now we look to the personal self, perhaps. How are we dealing with our responsibilities? We've all got responsibilities. How do we approach them? Is there an aspect of what we're doing which is playful? It's suggested that that would be a good thing, that we look upon challenges, difficulties, other challenges to our responsibility in life as a further test of what we have learned through play. Are we creative? Can we maintain a light-heartedness? Can we set about this not in a heavy Saturn way at all, but in a rakish silk hat? This guy with all these responsibilities nevertheless cuts a dash. He wants to play with his image a little bit. So we are taking an approach to our responsibilities which is more light-hearted, more stylish, more creative, more the way children would approach it if they're still free of mind. And this is quite a subtle message. Most of us approach responsibilities like the job, the family, the finances, all of these things, with a sense of heaviness, a saturnine sense of heaviness. And that might be that which makes them heavy, that we approach them with heaviness makes them heavy. If we approach them with lightheartedness, a lightness of being, maybe that's what will lighten the burden. It's what I think we're being asked to consider here. Do we really need to be so serious about our responsibilities? Can they not be dealt with this sense of joy and optimism and fun? And if we approach the world's problems like that, I think collectively we would come up with an answer. People tend to be more creative when they're playing. That's the point here. And a creative way to deal with your own responsibilities in life may well be a better option than to demonstrate some kind of victim consciousness with the sense of having to do something that you don't want to do. This is an antidote for that. So, North Node, 15th degree of Taurus, South Node, 15th degree of Scorpio. This stays around until around the 26th of September. Time to consider whether you're being sufficiently light-hearted about taking on the burden of your responsibilities.